hands are sweaty. I'm already nervous.
Why did I just get the scary sound? A scary.
Because it was the baby. You guys didn't hear the baby? I heard her crying for a second.
What are you doing?
Huh? What? I'm playing Lethal Company. What does it look like?
Haven't you checked the Steam charts? Why are you playing that? It's a dead game, dude. Why is he still playing? I just said it's a dead game. He should have stopped. Started arguing with me over it. Something. No. Maybe he just didn't hear me. I'll try it again. Why are you playing that? It's a... Wait, what are you doing?
I hate dead games. And not in the general sense of what you probably classify as a dead game. Concord. I remember Concord. Remember Concord. That's a dead game. I remember. More specifically, I hate the way that gamers talk about dead games. The confusing, vague description of what a dead game even is in the first place. In the current era of games getting shut down left and right.
Yeah, that means you too, dickhead. Yeah, that's right. Go ahead. I don't care if you're a good studio. Go ahead and untrailer your game.
Arc Raiders is only getting 100,000 players on Steam right now and only 14,000 viewers on Twitch? Damn, that's tragic. That's basically hospice care. Baldur's Gate 3 is only getting 74,000 players daily. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that about a 92% drop in players? What are these idiots doing? How could they fumble this bad? Crimson Desert only has 90,000 people playing it? At 1 o'clock in the morning? I guess they named it Crimson Desert because the player base is as dry as a desert. Golly, it's starting to get really hot outside again, isn't it? Dead game has become one of the dumbest phrases in gaming, and people throw it around like they're stock analysts standing over a line graph, trying to determine if fun is still legally allowed to exist under a certain player threshold. Those two words have completely and utterly lost all meaning, because in today's time, a game is only alive if it's constantly getting its asshole pumped with content every week and maintains a player count of 200,000 24 hours, 7 days a week, minimum. Call of Duty is dead, Arc Raiders is dead, Fortnite is dead, Battlefield is dead, GTA's still not out. What is anyone even playing anymore these days? 42,000 likes. I am superior to these people in every single way. A game can be wildly successful, critically adored, financially secure, beloved by its community, still actively played by tens of thousands of people, and still, some glue-sniffing goblin chartcel will still find a way to walk their stinky ass into the conversation with a,
"Yeah, but the concurrent count is down 84% from its peak."
Okay, and? Did you want everyone who first played this game to stay logged in forever? Did you expect every player to remain cryogenically frozen inside the main menu screen out of loyalty? People like to make fun of modern games a lot, you know, rightfully so, but I don't think enough people make fun of modern gamers enough. Modern gamers who, to be completely honest, don't even fucking play video games. The ones checking for realistic fruit physics and everything. The ones who cream their shorts at the sight of 4K ray-traced eye graphics. The ones who sit their big back bottom-feeding asses on Twitter complaining about women not having triple D milkers, Larpers, chartcels, grifters, all bringing out 120% of their potential to repel sex. And while we will talk more in depth about those three, beyond all those different kinds of chuds, there is one thing that your average modern gamer has become absolutely, undeniably obsessed with. Something that has permanently warped the perception of this medium beyond repair. A single word: updates. Updates. Oh, they can't get enough of those delicious patch notes. Human beings naturally like novelty. We like new things. But some of y'all be acting like starved peasants if the game you're playing for only 10 hours a week doesn't come out with a new multiplayer map every single day.
Spare an update for a suffering gamer.
Equating a game's quality to the frequency of content updates. And look, I like updates too. New content is nice. Ongoing support can be great. It's been to the benefit of numerous games, allowing for some insane comeback stories. But somewhere along the way, a huge chunk of the gaming audience developed live service brain rot so severe that they no longer see updates as a specific subcategory of gaming. They see it as the bare minimum requirement for any game to justify its own existence. It has broken people's understanding of what a game is allowed to be. Finished. Ever since Fortnite set the high bar of what a live service game could be, now every game is expected to behave like a live service title even when it clearly isn't one. Games you used to love have been forced to turn into live service slop, forced to fight in this never-ending battle of numbers trying to stay afloat. A battle that most developers don't have the manpower to afford to keep up for very long. Mid-season refreshes, new cosmetics, new meta shakeups, new roadmaps, new patch notes, new "we hear you" developer statements typed by some exhausted community manager whose soul left his body back in 2023. Since shareholders only speak in currency, they don't understand the workload it takes to keep up this kind of parade for very long. Like, Guang got them Marvel Rivals devs locked up in those offices 3D modeling skimpy character skins while their families are hanging up missing person posters around the neighborhood. Halo. Oh my beloved Halo, has been getting gutted inside and out because of this business model, and I just had to sit and watch it happen. But they themselves marketed the game as a live service game. The next 10 years of Halo, something truly infinite. Yet they very quickly proved that they actually made a little typo in the game's name. He put those silly 2 little letters there. Now it's accurate. Now I'm not trying to turn this into a live service rant because that horse has been long since atomized. But while the suits are demanding the live service slot machines stay churning, it's mostly because the people are eating that shit up like some free Krispy Kreme donuts. And after all that slop tent is digested, what results is the curation of this toxic cycle of players addicted to that live service sugar, and developers struggling to keep up with their fat ass demands. It poisons both the producer and the consumer, birthing the world's strongest video game chuds. And now we have to deal with these communities of people who genuinely think like, if your game doesn't come out with updates fast enough, then you just met the condition to activate my cursed technique. Malevolent metrics, turning every player loss into a slash attack with a guaranteed hit effect. But it doesn't matter because, well, it's obviously profitable. There's a reason why companies keep trying it. And you know, whatever, right? Let them shoot themselves in the foot and make them learn their lesson. But even if you don't play live service games, you're not safe from this discourse, buddy. I see you hiding over there. You're right there. You're not, I can see you. The live service SCP has breached containment and its infection has been spreading everywhere. The fact that there are some people who genuinely apply live service logic to single-player games is genuinely psychopathic. In a few months, when Crimson Desert player numbers start dwindling, I guarantee you're gonna see people frothing at the mouth saying, "Look, see, I knew Crimson Desert is a bad game. It fell off. Dead game. Trash." Congratulations, buddy. You just learned the concept of finishing something. People beat the game and move on. The product was consumed. The meal was eaten. Would you call a restaurant dead because people finished dinner and went home? Actually, some of you probably would. Yo, dude, you see the concurrent player count on Denny's last night? That shit is cooked. The developers of Peak, indie companies Aggro Crab and Landfall Games, had to publicly call out some nerd complaining the game wasn't receiving updates fast enough, to which these gigachads replied, "Neither of us or Aggro Crab are live service studios. Any update is a bonus, not a right." Clapping back with the truth nuke so hard that it deleted the original tweet from existence. Lots of people don't know this, but Peak was a game jam game. Game jams are basically contests where developers have to make a game within a certain time frame to really breed creativity from constraints and pressure. This game was made in a month. The developers themselves weren't expecting how much it would have blown up. Yet despite that, this small indie company still gave out free updates and content for the love of the game, and they still got shit for it not being enough. What's crazy is, even though I personally think Fortnite started this train wreck, they themselves are literally becoming an example of how this business model, the concept of a forever game, is not immune to being eroded away by the sands of time and corporate greed. But unfortunately, the damage has already been done. And now you have people angrily pointing at Peak, calling it a dead game as if it was supposed to last forever. I played Peak. I had a great time with it.
That was really
Do I play it anymore? Nah, not really, no. Because I got my experience out of it and had a great time. That shit was like $7 or something, man. But for some people, getting dozens upon dozens of hours of entertainment for the same price as an in-and-out combo just doesn't cut it. But there's only 40,000 people playing it. Holy fucking nerd alert. Can we talk about that word real quick? Only 40,000 people. That's what some chartcels classify as a dead game. Some of you hear only before a number larger than the population of several towns and don't realize how batshit insane you sound. Only 40,000 players. Brother, that is a functioning society. That is a zip code. That is enough people to fill a small arena and still have pickup artists filming in the parking lot. There's some dinosaur simulator game called The Isle. Fucking love that game. Averages like 15, 20k people daily. Thousands of little dickheads running around as raptors. Since when as a society did we start classifying communities of this size as dead, deceased, gone? Bitch, what do you mean? I'm growing my stego right now. Helldivers 2 averages about 50k players daily. That's roughly 90% less players than its all-time peak. People call this a dead game. Who the fuck are you that 50,000 people isn't considered a healthy number? You can't even get 5 people to do a Destiny raid together. Right now, there's this weird cultural inability to let a game simply exist at any point between industry-dominating phenomenon and corpse. Like my guy, there's a whole spectrum right there. And not the one that you're on. This era of chartcels pocket watching Steam charts more than actually playing video games has to end, man. Y'all need to get some hobbies. And then you got the Twitch view counters, which are, in my opinion, worse than your average chartcel, because how are you going to attach a game's success to streamers? Especially when all it takes is one person to completely seesaw a game to the most watched category for like a single day. Some games are just more fun to play than they are to watch, and vice versa. These are the viewer numbers on Twitch for Marvel Rivals and Warframe. Here are the Steam player numbers. Now, if you do the math here, you know, carry the 0 and divide, compare the 2 to the quadratic formula, you can see that the answer is it doesn't fucking matter. Can we get back to having, like, real intelligent conversations about video games with actual valid critiques beyond just yelling dead game and woke? It's just such a weird, warped perception of popularity.
Gosh!
Relating a dead game to, oh, it only has 5-digit player numbers. It's not the most watched on Twitch. Well, I never see it on my TikTok For You page. That is not death. That is just existing without spectacle. And you know, maybe that's the real reason why people hate it. A game without massive numbers forces people to confront whether they actually like it without the validation of popularity. No hype, no social proof, no algorithm, no giant crowd telling you this is the place to be, man. Come on, it's so cool. Just you and the game. And for a lot of people, that's quite scary. It's like they're still mentally stuck in high school, you know, walking around terrified about what other people think. Oh man, I wonder if people like my Yu-Gi-Oh shirt. Wow, that's a really cool shirt. I didn't know you were chill like that. Let's be friends. Grow the fuck up, man. Do you actually like the game? For a shocking number of people, that appears to be a much harder question than, what are the Steam charts saying? But Larpers can't answer that question at all, because they don't know if they actually like the game, because they don't fucking play the game. Instead of making genuine content critiquing titles they've actually experienced, they merely make up imaginary problems so they can grift to a community of people with a combined IQ score of Patrick's pet rock. And it doesn't help either that this Donkey Kong barrel-ass pastry turned Twitter into the ragebait factory, where it's profitable to ragebait. It's truly unfortunate, because someone out there who isn't chronically online and is actually interested in trying a game might come across these opinions or misinformation posts from some troglodyte who has no idea what they're talking about and could actually be dissuaded from trying it. These cockroaches do have an impact on gaming communities, unfortunately, which can affect player counts, which then turns into more ammunition for the grifter. A revolving door cycle of chuds that have zero benefit to this beloved hobby. A literal bulging cancer mass sucking the life out of gaming because they themselves have no lives. Most of these guys have failed relationships, genuinely have brain damage, or have court-documented restraining orders. The best way to handle garbage like this is to just put them in the ignore bin and forget about them entirely, which is harder said than done. Okay, I myself can admit that I cannot resist sometimes pointing and laughing at the pants being pissed, but I'm sure their little chodes feel a sparkle of enjoyment out of the humiliation. So the best thing you can do is to just ignore. Not only is this era of witch hunting games incredibly cringe, but it's also just so vague. Like, what does dead even mean? Dead as in the servers are offline? Dead as in nobody can find a match? Dead as in the devs stop supporting it? Dead as in the player base is somewhat smaller than it used to be? Dead as in it's no longer the main character on social media? Those are all completely different things, yet people use the same phrase for all of them, and mostly with the intention of just attacking a game they don't like. And I gotta say, that mindset is infinitely more embarrassing than just enjoying a game with lower numbers. At least the people still playing are actually playing. No, don't get me wrong. Talking about things like player counts and updates are not completely meaningless. Hold it! I'm not gonna act like they never matter, because in some situations, they do. Bungie's Marathon, my love-hate confusing relationship with this game. Stop suffocating me, I need my space. Baby, I didn't mean it. You know I love you. That is an example where looking at numbers can be informative. There can be a genuine discussion in relation to a game's population, especially if said AAA live service game has a gigantic budget, expensive server infrastructure, matchmaking requirements, and shareholders standing behind the devs with the shotgun in a spreadsheet. So if a game's costs aren't equating to the projected player counts, that's a discussion to be had, because yeah, why spend $40 on something that could be considered temporary? A game that could actually, one day, die. This all loops back to stop killing games. Where did that lead you? Back to me. The argument that gamers should have protection and rights to games they purchase, and that a game you purchase should not be allowed to be shut down. Keyword, purchase. As of April 2026, the movement actually backed a California bill that covers a lot of these issues. One point being that developers must include some sort of offline capabilities so people can still enjoy the games they own. Although the terms of what purchasing a game even means has become very muddy in recent times, some companies try saying what you're buying is like a temporary access key that just unlocks the ability to play the game. A key that they have the right to take away for any reason, which is complete bullshit because it's misleading. Ownership has just been slowly swapped with licensing over time. And the fact that there hasn't been any legislation to make that totally clear at checkout is fucking wild. Like, if you purchase a copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the GameCube, you're not signing or agreeing to any legal documents that say, actually, this is a license. No, you bought the game. It's yours. However, now if you purchase a game on Steam or the Epic Game, I never mind, can't even say it. These platforms are still using the same semantic word we've been using for acquiring video games for decades now. Purchase. Except now there's a silly little checkmark box you have to click before you can purchase. Well, what does that subscriber agreement mean? Don't worry about it, kitten. Yay! If you actually click on this highlighted part, you can find a section called Licenses. And lo and behold, there it is. Valve hereby grants, and you accept, a non-exclusive license and right to use the content and services for your personal, non-commercial use. Your license confers no title or ownership in the content and services. This is a single-player game, so what the fuck do you mean I don't own it? Again, this lack of transparency is a massive, massive problem. However, let me play a little devil's advocate, shall I? Yes. In a perfect world, every game would have a functional offline component that allows any game, including live service ones, a way to still experience the game. Helldivers 2 is an online-only game. It's not like Helldivers 1, where the game was built upon an automated, self-sustaining system that can last forever. This whole live service galactic war thing with real humans behind the scenes making changes and actively directing the story isn't something you'll probably be able to boot up 20 years from now. But it's because it's temporary that you're able to have an experience like this game that you can't get in a single player only game that never evolves or changes. We'll never get Malevelon Creek ever again, rest in peace. It was just a gaming moment where you had to be there. But that kind of begs the question, right? Was Helldivers 2 successful because it was built as an online only community driven game? Now, does that mean it's completely impossible to have an offline mode? Of course not. In fact, as of making this video, some talented modders came out with something called Custom Galactic War, which enables things like multi-faction battles, deeper player customization, and so much more. However, even the CGW team themselves say that it wouldn't have all been possible if it were not for Arrowhead making all of this base game content in the first place, due to its always online, ever-evolving war. It was made in addition to the game, not in spite of it. And even then, it still technically requires an online connection because it still has live liberation stats and whatnot. It's just like separate from the base game. Now, the fact that this mod even exists could possibly imply that sometime down the line, Arrowhead themselves could come out with one final update that shifts the game into a HD1 type of state where it can last forever offline. But it would definitely require tons of resources and a drastic reworking of how the game was created, coded, and functions at its core. And hell, you could even argue that the game would be fundamentally different from what it was initially advertised as. So some people could claim misleading marketing, you know, yada yada. It gets messy, right? Foxhole is a game where just on a conceptual level, it is impossible to play offline or solo because the entire game's premise is that it's a 24/7 never-ending live war where every single player, vehicle, system, everything is controlled by individual people. It's fucking awesome that a video game like this is even possible, and it makes me excited for other things like this that could be made on a grander scale, but again, it technically goes directly against the concept of every video game ever being an offline forever game. Sea of Thieves would not be the same kind of game without being a shared world. Pretty much every MMO ever actually would just not straight up work or be entirely different games offline. Things like Destiny 2 has like campaigns and such that could be preserved in offline content, but what about the more social experiences? The Finals is a multiplayer game so complex and unique, I actually think it would be impossible to code a fully playable offline mode with bots that replicate the same experience as online PvP. There's a lot of nuance here. Something as game preservation isn't so black and white. Ultimately, I support the movement and have so much more to say about it, but that can be a whole other video, honestly. The reason I'm talking about it right now, though, is because to me, this is what real dead game discourse is. The discussion about these products fully and truly being taken away, becoming unaccessible. Highguard is a dead game. The Day Before is a dead game. Halo Infinite is not a dead game. It's on fucking life support, but it exists. All of this other grifter, larper, chartcel bullshit, I'm tired of that discourse. Dead game discourse is dead. Overall, I hate player count brain, I hate live service psychosis, and I hate the idea that a game has to be endlessly updated, permanently dominant, and algorithmically certified fresh, ISO speed approved in order to be considered worth a damn. Maybe it's just kids who haven't learned what mortality is yet, spewing all this shit online, but if you're a grown-ass adult who still has live service brain rot, let me give you one last tug back into reality. Nothing lasts forever. No game stays at its launch peak forever. People move on, culture shifts, audiences splinter. And you know what? That's okay. That doesn't erase what it was. It doesn't erase the fun that people had with it. It doesn't mean it was a failure. Normalize the idea of playing a game, experiencing it,
No fucking way!
creating fond memories, and moving on. Everyone is so fucking angry, constantly bickering about my game is more popular than your game, and then a month later, the numbers and arguments completely flip. Stop dying on hills that are constantly shifting. Play what you love. And hopefully one day in the future, you won't have to worry about a game you enjoy actually dying. But, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we hopefully get there. Smiling Friends just ended recently, and as much as I love that show, I'm thankful because in an era where everything is marketed to be infinite, they gave me the ultimate smile by proving they know when it's time to finish. For making it to the end of this video, you've received yet another Bubba picture. Thank you so much for watching. I don't normally make these kinds of videos talking about general gaming topics, so if you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. In conclusion, holy shit, chest fell off, dead game. Let's get a swimsuit skin for the queen, that'll fix it.